That humor is the best medicine. That theory has certainly been embraced by my first guest today. That's not to say, though, that Gabe Howard doesn't take his diagnosis of bipolar disorder lightly. He just wants to make it less scary, more understandable. Through our series with Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation and Mental Health Awareness Month, Gabe is joining me to shine a light on being bipolar. And I'm so happy to have with me today Gabe Howard. He is a bipolar speaker, author, podcaster. You got lots of titles. Thanks for being here with us on Daytime, Gabe.
I really appreciate you having me. Thank you so very, very much.
I want to start with the basics, Gabe, because a lot of people who aren't immersed in that world, right, don't know in general even what is bipolar disorder. How do you explain it?
So bipolar disorder, a lot of people think that they know, and they're like, it's two poles, right? It's right in the name. It's two extremes. It's highs, which are often, thought of as like mania, grandiosity, greatness, and then depression, which is often thought of as like, suicidal depression. And both of those things are true. That's just incomplete, right? It's vacillating back and forth on those two poles. So you can have godlike mania and you can have suicidal depression, but you can also be right in the middle. Right in the middle, normal, typical, full control. Or, of course, you can ping pong back and forth really quickly, or you can stay at one for a while, or, well, frankly, you can just be anywhere on that giant spectrum.
And so how did you find out? Tell us about, your diagnosis and how you learned that was, the title for it.
So I thought about suicide as far back as I can remember. It was always ingrained in my brain that this was an option. And because I thought about it literally since birth, I thought it was the human experience. I thought that everybody was doing it. My parents, my grandparents, my teachers, even my peer group. I thought this was normal because there was no mental health education in the 80s. Nobody taught me this. Nobody challenged it. And so I just went through life having all of these problems that my parents thought were behavioral issues. So they tried to punish the symptoms of bipolar disorder out of me. So, I didn't really have great self-esteem, except when I was manic, when I had too great of self-esteem. And then I thought I was garbage. And I just had all of these problems. And finally, at 25 years old, I just thought, I've had enough. It's been a quarter of a century. I'm trying to be good. I'm tired of letting my mom down. I'm tired of being an embarrassment. I'm tired of feeling this way. And I started the process of a suicide plan, for lack of a better word. And here, of course, is where the story takes, a great and hopeful turn. Somebody noticed. Emotional piece, realized that I was sick, realized that I was suicidal, and took me to the hospital. And that I was committed to a psychiatric hospital, and that is where I got the diagnosis. Now, and I'd love to tell you that that's like the whole story, but there's so much more that happened. It just blows your mind.
And obviously there is so much more because you have enough to write a book. We won't put the whole title out there, but I think people can fill in the blanks. But tell me about the book. Tell me about what people are going to learn about you, about your story, and about bipolar.
So I wrote a book called Mental Illness is a Blank and Other Observations. You can get it at GabeHoward.com if you want to see the actual. I can't even hold up a copy of it, right?
We're family friendly, Gabe. Although this is,
this was the publisher's idea. Like, I didn't want to name it this. I was like, my grandmother will never forgive me. My grandmother loves the title. It's been fantastic. But it's a collection of observations that I wrote over a 5-year period, from birthdays to learning about what my parents went through, because there was just so much. Think of it like a heavily curated diary. It's half self-help, half interesting, all true. Series of articles. Definitely check it out at wherever fine books are sold.
So you also have a podcast. This one's free, Gabe, and this one I feel like everybody would have a little fun with, right? And get some education.
Yeah, so it's called Inside Mental Health. You can find it at psychcentral.com/show or your favorite podcast player. And here's the goal. I take experts, doctors, high-end people, experts in their field, and I make them explain these concepts surrounding mental health, mental illness, and psychology to my dad. That's like what's going through my mind. Will my father understand this? Because when his son was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, he needed to understand this. And you can't make an appointment with a doctor to talk about your son's bipolar disorder. So that's the goal surrounding the show. And we cover everything. It's a super cool show. If you like my voice, I don't talk that much, but the experts talk a lot and you can understand them.
There you go. Perfect. The best of both worlds. All right. PsychCentral.com/show. We'll have the websites up for anybody interested on there as well. Thank you so much, Gabe.
You are very welcome.